Okay, great. So the premise of the show is really to hone in on what it is to hustle, right? How to make your money and the journey that comes along with it. You know, the journey that people don't really talk about. Today we actually had a guest planned, and unfortunately, just has life has it, things didn't work out the way we wanted it to. However, we're still here, and instead of bringing you guys insight on just that one person's view, on just solely that one person's view, I decided to take it a little bit a different of an approach today, and decided really to just talk a little bit more about the pandemic, okay? And really what came about it. So, in the beginning of 2019, right, everything was, oh no, this was 2020, right, the beginning of 2020 when it happened, right, because it was towards the end of 2019 that we started hearing all this crazy stuff, and 2020 arrived, and it changed the game for everyone, and I'm talking about, like, not only businesses, but people's health, schools. You're talking about, like, what we had going on day to day completely, I want to even say dismantled, right? Or put at a pause for us to kind of like, which caused us to kind of like reflect. And during that time, a lot of businesses and people did some reflecting, right? And we learned a couple of things. We learned, that we weren't getting paid what we needed to get paid, right? And we saw this with unemployment, and how so many people, once they started to receive unemployment, how they were actually making more money than what they were making before getting paid at certain jobs, right? And now, because of that, we actually see a difference in, or like a lot of people not wanting to go back to work, or having higher expectations with work. So that stemmed a lot of issues, right? Because now you're having a higher expectation for work. What's gonna happen is you're not the only one. It's a whole bunch of people. And now jobs are gonna have to either promote the crap out of their jobs. And I've seen that. Some jobs are actually giving the incentive of like, if you sign with us, we'll give you a bonus. I've seen, what was another one I saw? They're offering better and more health benefits, higher wages, better vacation times. And when you think about it, these aren't things that are like outlandish to provide, but these companies made it seem as though they were outlandish to provide for their employees. And with that, including myself, a lot of people, and as a matter of fact, it was a 4.4 million new businesses started last year, right, in 2020. And it was a 24% increase than the previous year. So what does that tell you? It tells you that people are fed up, they're tired, they're overworked, underpaid, and so many started to create their own business. And now I think that this does a couple of things, right? it creates a more self-sustaining environment for like a person, you know, for a group of people. And it also creates like a bunch of obstacles, right? Like things that you have to get over, things that you have to, right? Because it's not easy. It's not easy, right? And I'm curious to know how many of these new businesses that started last year actually move forward, right? Because it's so easy to recognize the things that other companies were doing wrong and how they weren't getting money. I mean, how they weren't getting they weren't compensating their employees. And so we recognize that. And we thought that, a lot of us think the solution is like, okay, I'm going to just completely start something new. And with extra money and time on our hands, many people were able to do that. And so moving forward, it's easy to recognize the issue, not necessarily sustain the solution, right? Because as many of us or people who started a business like found out easily, like it's not easy. I will say though, if you started a company during the pandemic and it's still up and running and you haven't given up on that, congratulations. You did something that was really, really difficult. And if you had a business already and you survived the pandemic, congratulations, you did an amazing job. Because many companies did not survive the pandemic. Models, I believe, is out of business, if I'm not mistaken. They closed all of their locations down. A lot of I know Forever 21 branches closed. Many branches, even bank branches, they turned to online. A lot of offices gave up their work in office in person and turned to online as well because they had to downsize, right? So now some problems that I think some of these companies were actually facing were not having their employees there to provide the service, right? So the service industry took a big hit, and the service industry is usually like hospitality or anything with beauty, so like restaurants, salons, services that you pay for, right? They definitely took a hit, and a lot of these people were doing house calls, as of course, like, what else do you do if they can't come to your establishment? Might as well go to, what are you gonna do at that point? So some of these places and companies had to really, really, really get creative. You look at it now, post pandemic, or I don't know if this is done or not. You see how many restaurants now have like outdoor dining. Took up a lot of the city's parking, but I will say, they definitely got creative, and I think that says a lot about these companies. And this is why I think it's amazing and really important, actually, to, once you start your company, to keep that motto, to even have a motto and keep that and have morals, because further on, as time passes, as your consistency continues and you make money and your company starts to grow, more and more your morals are going to be coming out. And we saw this with the pandemic, how people hold or what people hold important. And I will tell you this, a lot of businesses, big corporations in fact, don't really share the same morals that their employees have, and for which I think it's important to now start our businesses, start our hustle, have our side hustle, because we're living in a society where if you're living off of one job, congrats, it's almost unheard of to live off of just one source of income. Yeah, so I know this is like a little bit of a millennial rant, but that's what we're here for. We're here for the millennials. We're here for the Gen Zers who are emerging and grew up thinking one thing about businesses and corporations and job security, and somewhere along the way started to learn a little bit different. And then when the pandemic hit, it really came to everything came to like surface. And so as a millennial, I find it more and more people of my age legit like questioning how we were taught to make income. And for that, I think this pandemic did a great thing. So we're here to make sure that you guys, to not make sure you guys, but like help you walk through the process, hold your hand, talk to you about stuff that we're all learning, because I think that as an entrepreneur, you are tested over and over and over again, and your life is really a series of like a test, an obstacle, and how will I get over it, right? It's almost like college, except you actually make money from it. Yeah, I think being an entrepreneur is exactly like that. So I think that's little by little we're learning how to hustle, how to make this all come together, how to make ourselves sustainable, especially as things are starting to return back to normal. You know, and when I say we, I mean like as a society. Like, I'm curious to find out what happens when unemployment is done, when these stimulus checks are no longer going out and inflation has happened. Because I don't know about y'all, but have y'all noticed that gas has gone up, milk has gone up, beer, wine, a lot of these things have actually gone up. And once we return to our normal wages, without unemployment, without the stimulus check, I really want to know what's gonna happen. And I think this is also another reason why it's really important to find your hustle, find something, because things are gonna be tested. And I'm seeing that more and more. Like, things are just being tested as a society, as a government. And I think as we are learning, or we're making an uproar and getting the government or society to kind of listen to what we're saying and saying, like, it's been said for a long time that a lot of these businesses don't care about you, that the government doesn't care about you, X, Y, and Z, X, Y, and Z. But it was like the pandemic that really highlighted it. So now we're seeing more of an uproar because it was actually in everybody's face. People were facing this open, and it wasn't just a couple of thousand people at a time. It was millions of people at a time. And so there's a shift coming. And I think that that's a great thing. So I got really excited. So now I want to talk a little bit about more how people were actually able to hustle during the pandemic. I mean, aside from unemployment, but because a lot of people got that. Shout out to you if you get in unemployment, man. Shout out to you, because unemployment is a really, really, really awesome feature to have for somebody who is transitioning, for somebody who is learning more about themselves, taking care of their mental health, who has worked really, really hard and needs a break, who is experiencing burnout, somebody who is trying to look for a new job, somebody who's just starting out, or somebody who is, trying to transition to a new part in their life. I think That's awesome. So shout out to you if you getting unemployment. And if you lying about not needing the unemployment, I mean, if you lying and saying you need the unemployment when you don't, I mean, I guess you still hustling. I can't knock the hustle if you find a way around the system. I'm not encouraging that. I don't want anybody to say, like, I heard Kat, YouLoveKat from the How to Hustle podcast. She told me that I should, if I could finesse the system, I'm going to finesse it. But shout out to you, though. If you are, I'm not saying that. You should. But if you are, shout out to you. That's what's up. Right. Anyway, so some of the things that I took note of that people were doing during the pandemic to survive were like platters. I saw so many people use their cooking skills and actually start like platters. From that, I legit saw catering businesses emerge. I saw meal prep businesses emerge, which I think is awesome. There were, what else? Like, just like pop-up kitchens, or where, somebody just cooks for, one time a week or X amount of times a month or week or whatever, and people come pick up the platters and all of that stuff. I think that was amazing that came out of that. What else did I saw? I saw some people who came out with like dessert boxes and, some other people started doing, like little treat boxes. I know there's even like a munchies program where like whatever munchies you're craving, like they'll deliver it to you, and they got a list of like different munchies that you can order. Like, that's amazing. I think that was that's a great hustle. If you're like in the food industry, I mean, I tried to do platters actually. And don't get me wrong, they tasted great. I made money. It was fun. Just not the hustle for me. So if you're out here making platters, running a restaurant, a bakery, whatever, where you gotta put stuff together and people order it and you gotta make it look good, taste good, and then you gotta give it to them either fresh, hot, or just still in edible condition, shout out to you, because that is not easy. And shout out to you if you really following those food guidelines, because yes, nobody likes nasty food. But I'm telling you, food you can never go wrong, because nobody want to cook. That's a hustle right there, because nobody want to cook. Some other things that I saw too during the pandemic was so many lash techs and people nail techs emerging. I think that's amazing. My concern, because I even tried to look, I think I'm just going down the list of things I've tried as an entrepreneur, as a hustler. You're gonna try a lot of things. I'm not afraid to say that I tried something, it didn't work, it wasn't for me, and I kept it moving. I used to beat myself down about that. I used to be like, no, now you gotta stick with it, and that's it. And I think it's important to stick to something to find out if you like it long enough. But there's nothing wrong with changing, and rebuilding yourself. Like, ain't nobody got it figured out. Nobody got it figured out. And I think we're constantly reinventing ourselves, re-emerging and growing. That's how you grow. You know what I'm saying? So, like, yeah, that's another thing I tried, doing the lashing, and it's something I would love to get back to, because I think it was amazing. I think everything is amazing, clearly, because I've just been overusing the word. It's like oversaturated at this point. But I really enjoyed it. One, I never thought I could be in the beauty industry, but I always wanted to be in the beauty industry. I don't know if any other women are like that, because I definitely always wanted to, like, when I think of the beauty industry, I think of just getting pretty, right? Like, oh my God, and I could save so much money if I learn how to do that. So, also, you get to meet a whole bunch of other women, and, you can pick and choose your clients. You get conversate, have great conversation with people. And so I think it's a great network. It's just you really have to have a skill, because if your eyelashes is lopsided, you're gonna have to either give it for free or do it again, or both. So that's definitely a different, like a hard task, precision, and you have to have the eye and the talent for that, and practice, of course. So shout out to all the lash techs, nail techs, and other barbers, and everybody in the hair and beauty industry. Shout out to you guys, because honestly, you guys keep us fresh. You guys keep us fly. Because did you see all the haircuts everybody was giving themselves? Like, I done fucked up my man's hairline, like in the back. Like, everything was good. Everything was fine. Everything was good. And then it just got to a point where I don't know if I just got scared or just like completely zoned out and was like, what am I doing? Or maybe, I don't know, it was like pandemic in the air. I was like, I could do it. I messed that thing up. And he tried to make me feel better about it, but and that was that. I had always wondered if I could cut hair, if I could be that cool, woman in the barbershop cutting hair. No. No. So definitely, shout out to you if you're a barber, or you're how would I say it? A beautician. There you go. If you're a beautician or a barber, shout out to you, because you got some steady hands, and everybody's during the pandemic learned that they didn't. Also, I do have a concern though about a lot of emerging people in the beauty industry. Again, I don't say, oh, Kat from the How to Hustle podcast said that she's proud of me for being a lash tech, but never going to beauty school to get my certification. I did not say that. Please make sure you are certified. It is not cute getting those fines, okay? So make sure that, yes, you found a hustle. Yes, you found a craft that you're amazing at. But please make sure that you grow. Please make sure that you grow. And part of growing is making sure that you're legit. Making sure that you are taken serious. Because a lot of people are not going to take you serious if you don't have those credentials. And I'm sure some of you are staring at this, listening to this, and be like, yeah, whatever, you just hating. No, I'm not, honey. I think what you're doing is amazing. But part of being an entrepreneur is knowing and being willing to listen and hear even when you don't want to hear. So y'all need to know that. I see that this is, I think that this is a great thing that so many people are finding their talents, but do something with that talent too. Continue to grow. Don't self-sabotage yourself. Never get the certification. Never, go to school for build this entire big brand, have a whole bunch of clients, and then it just all collapses because simply because you didn't go to school, or not to go to school, but like get that certification. So make sure whatever it is that your hustle is, you get your certification, because there's nothing more discrediting than not having your certification. Would a lot of people, like, would you trust a mechanic that never worked on a car? Like, no. Like, having a certification, yes, there are people who get a certification and they're not good at their craft, or they're not masters at their craft, but that certification literally has tests and standards for you to pass to make sure that you can meet a certain standard or criteria. So please make sure you got your certifications, ladies and gentlemen, because ain't nobody trying to do none of that illegal, like, mishap, and then don't self-sabotage. That's what that's called. It's not luck and blah, blah, blah. It's called self-sabotaging, y'all. So just make sure that you get that in check, right? Well, because you were in survival mode during the pandemic, right? And yeah, we're still getting out of this. I don't think that this is completely over. That's just me. But we are getting to a place where things are more in check, more handled. At least we feel like it is. So what are you going to do with this? What's the next step? I think it's always important. How how are we as entrepreneurs growing? How, because yeah, okay, our business puts us to the test, puts us to a challenge, like all the time. We are forever, forever, ever, ever on some kind of mission and problem solving skills. And I think that that helps us grow. And that's a part of it. But what we need to do is continue to edify ourselves, continue to feed ourselves information, continue to learn. How can we do something better? How can we, what else can come from this? And that's truly when you see not only a growth in your business, but a growth in yourself. Because a growth in yourself equals a growth in your business, and a growth in your business equals money in your pocket. And I think that's ultimately what it comes down to when you're hustling, like knowing what the goal is, and then not just money, but knowing that what it is that you want. What could you do with that money? What is it? What's important to you? And figuring that out is important. So ultimately it comes to edifying yourself and growing as a person and growing as an entrepreneur and willing to find the information that's out there, because we have the internet. All of these things seemed so unattainable prior to the internet, and now that we are able to just Google something at our fingertips, I think we have a lot more options, which is why, again, people who are in my generation in particular, as a millennial, like, we were taught the old school ways without having internet, and then we were introduced to this internet, and it was kind of like ooh, look, this is cool for entertainment, and it became a necessity. It became something we could do something we could hustle with. It opened up our doors. So it's out there. The information is out there. Find it. Like, it's time for you to grow. It's time for you to open up that tab and look up the information that you've been needing, so that you're not stuck at what you're doing. You need an extra piece of equipment, and you don't, oh, no, now I'm not. How are you going to get that equipment? Boy or girl, you better find on Facebook Market if somebody has that equipment, if that piece of equipment that you could get. Like, or you better find and go on Reddit and Google and ask and all of that stuff, who's been using this and what could you do. There's ways. If you're not hustling, or you're having a hard time, or you say that there's no way of making money, I don't want to say having a hard time, but if you're not hustling, or you say that there's no way to make money, like in this time and age, I don't think you have working internet, to be honest, because there's so many ways. That's what we're here for, to show you. Some of the ways that I also saw that people were hustling during the pandemic was OnlyFans. Oh my goodness, OnlyFans. Like, I had heard of OnlyFans before. I just didn't really know too much what it was. I thought, it looked like it was like exclusive for people who were famous, or had some kind of influence, and you could just see their content, right? Or see anything, if they wanted to engage with their fans. Like, stuff they weren't posting on Instagram. So let's say they posted a picture, from a photo shoot, but all of the pictures of the day, or like videos and things that they did behind the scenes, all of that was available on their OnlyFans, right? So it then became like this kind of like really, really, it became oversaturated with sex, right? It became almost like a Pornhub, to the point where so many people don't even know what OnlyFans actually is, which is, like I mentioned before, is really just a platform for people or fans to engage with somebody they really follow, or somebody they follow, somebody who's like famous or influential, right? So it's just a platform where artists can just engage with their audience, literally as a fan. Like, you have a fan club. And so people started to, do really sexy things on it and express themselves with their bodies and with having sex appeal, and it just kind of became like this Pornhub type of thing, to a point where, like, listen, I don't knock sex work by all means. It was just everybody was doing it, and quickly so many people learned that it was not an easy thing. There were even memes about it, like, oh, all y'all girls want to do OnlyFans, but y'all don't want to support rappers. Yeah, now y'all know how it feels, like up and coming artists or up and coming rappers, right? Because it's really just about creating your own persona, your own image, and selling that. OnlyFans is really just like Patreon, or like an Instagram that you pay for. And hey, whatever content you put out there is whatever content you put out there. And I think that that's awesome. I saw so many people start it. And even to this day, like, yeah, a lot of people started it. But even to this day, I still see people who have it. And people are still starting. And by all means, if you guys don't know, I'm an OnlyFans woman. So I started OnlyFans. A lot of my content that I was creating, I was posting it on Instagram for free. My photo shoots that I was paying for, that I was booking my photographer for, was all like on my pocket. And then I was just putting it out there for free. So I think in cases like this, OnlyFans was a game, or it has been a game changer for me, because now, like, I feel like my content doesn't get misconstrued. Like, my content is really like, oh wow, like, she's a person, she's her own, person. She has a really cool, quirky, whatever y'all think about me, personality, and she also creates art. It's not like, so I can almost separate like my fans and my business, right? Because I really do enjoy posting these really fun pictures. I love these photo shoots. I love being a model, mid-size, plus size, whatever. I don't care what it is. I just know I feel good and I look good and I like to take pictures. Okay, so then I created an OnlyFans, and it's been going great for me. I will say, like with everything, you need consistency. It's not something to be played with. It's definitely something that if you are in a relationship, you got to make sure that your partner is completely okay with that. As long as you and your partner have an agreement, like, and you also need to know for yourself, like, where is your boundary? What is going too far, right? Because again, you can use this platform for whatever it is that you want, right? So you need to be sure of what content you want to put out there. Are you explicit content? Are you teaser content? Are you model content? Exactly what it is, what does your content consist of? Who is your audience? Yeah, like, and these are a lot of analytics that actually go into OnlyFans. So if you're an OnlyFans, definitely shout out to you. Making that money, about your money. I love to see it. I love to see it. So yeah, man, I just saw so many companies and businesses emerge from this pandemic, and I think that it highlights the fact that we want change, and if the government isn't going to give it to us, we got to give it to ourselves. And I think with that, we noticed that with this pandemic. So shout out to you if you were a business that made it through the pandemic. If you were a business that started during the pandemic and you're here, congratulations. If you guys go on our Instagram page, you're gonna see a post there celebrating entrepreneurs and businesses that survived or emerged during the pandemic. So please go and tag 3 businesses that you guys know, so that we can share the wealth, share and network small businesses, because that is so important. So that's what How to Hustle is all about. Really, really, really supporting our followers, our viewers, and just getting your business out there, because like I said, you made it through this pandemic. Shout out to you. Shout out to anybody who has health right now, because if it wasn't for your immune system, you wouldn't be here. Unfortunately, we lost so many people due to COVID-19 and an array of different things that we faced last year. So shout out to you if you got your health. Shout out to you if you made it this far through this pandemic. So yeah, please make sure that you tag 3 businesses and share that. It's gonna be going all throughout the week, please. So definitely, you're gonna be seeing on our page. We're gonna be sharing and highlighting businesses. So make sure you tag. I believe we're gonna be having a raffle to see what business will post on the actual page. But those of you who do tag businesses, like, you have a chance to show up on our story, and also a chance to show up on our page and be exposed to a whole nother network, guys. So please make sure that you guys go do this. It's actually absolutely free, no cost, no charge, no nothing. So make sure you guys take advantage of that networking. Also, for next week, we're actually going to be talking about getting past your fears as an entrepreneur, and emerging entrepreneur, right? We all got them. We all got fear. We all have fears, whether you are thinking about being an entrepreneur or you are an entrepreneur and you're like in it. We all got fears. One thing that we all got in common is that we got to get over them. How? That is the big question. How do I stop being scared of not making it? How do I get past that? So we're gonna have a lot of great things to talk about. Please make sure you stay updated with our Instagram, and we will see you guys next week. Shout out to FTV Radio. Shout out to It's Cloud Media for our media, and I will see you guys next week. Have a great one.